Selling a million books sounds crazy because obviously a million books is like, I couldn't even like envision a million books sitting in the room. But I have recently made that my goal of the thing that I want to accomplish by 2030. Because what do they say? They say go big or go home. If you're new here, hi, I'm Kayla. If you are not new here, welcome back. I'm currently working on writing my very first book series, which is going to be what I believe will be a duology, and it is my memoir. But when I decided to write my memoir, I wanted to write it through the lens of a fiction book, like all the books that I read and learned from as a kid. So this book is my memoir turned young adult dystopian fantasy. If you are into that, if you are into fantasy books, if you are into writing, if you are into writing vlogs, author vlogs, and curious about this journey, click subscribe and watch this playlist. I have a playlist that you can binge all the videos of my writing journey so far. Being a new book writer, like I was thinking about, I could make any goal. I can make any goal to just like indie publish, to get my book out there. But I want people to read my book. I want people to love my book, to cry, to laugh, to have massive ahas, and to apply the learnings to their life like I did when I read a lot of fiction books. I want my fiction book to be amazing and to teach people and for people to love it. So I want to make the big, crazy ass goal of selling a million copies of that book. And so, just for fun, I asked my good pal, ChatGPT, if he would write me a plan of what it takes to sell a million books by 2030. And so today I'm sharing with you what Chat wrote for me. As you can imagine, one of the things that in this plan of selling a million books by 2030, a lot of what I need to do is, surprise, write. The book does have to be done. So today I'm going to be sharing with you this path to 1 million books that Chet helped me write and to create. And I'm also going to be writing my book from where we left off last time, where I did a lot of brainstorming. I did a lot of editing and rearranging. I cut 5,000 words and felt a little bit like a failure, but got over that fast because I knew that cutting those 5,000 words, rearrange my book is where we needed to go. So I'm excited to review that, dive in, get going on my path to selling a million books. So why even choose the goal of a million books? I think there's a bunch of different reasons why that I chose this goal. But really, one thing about me is that when I decide to do something, I like to have something to work towards. I like to have structure. I like to have an aim. I like to have a vision of where I'm going to. I do this thing, and I've mentioned this before in another video, where I like to experiment. And for me, I get clarity about what I want to do when I start taking action on it. So for instance, for this book, I had this, I've always known I've wanted to write a book, and I've been thinking about it for more than a decade. And I've even had chapters outlined for more than a decade of my memoir. And I just probably like 6 weeks ago now, maybe 8 weeks ago now, had the aha of how I wanted to deliver this in the dystopian fantasy book series that really will go and span more than just this duology, but it'll be a series that starts with picture books, grows into beginning chapter books, grows into my young adult duology, and then also has a reflective adult, more formal or regular or traditional is the word I'm looking for, memoir. And I've always learned and realized that I've wanted to do this. But as I got started, I was kind of dabbling, experimenting, and seeing what it was like to be a writer. Part of me thought a long time ago, maybe I'd have a ghostwriter and I would just tell them my life story and they would write it for me, things like that. So I started dabbling, I started making these vlogs. And when I did that, I realized because I'd taken that action, I normally take action. If I realize it's something I don't want to do, I pivot, I change my mind, I go somewhere else. I've realized so deeply, this is what I've meant. Like, this is what I'm meant to be doing. My whole life, everyone has said, you need to share your story. You need to share your story. You need to share your story. And I finally figured out how I feel good. I'm finally safe feeling inside to share it. Of course, that comes with so many different things. I'm going to be adding a lot of this to the vlog, but so now that I'm dedicated to doing it, I want to have that big vision, have that place that I'm going. So when I started running and I decided I wanted to run races, I'm like, oh, I'm going to make it to a marathon, right? And then it was, a lot of times in running, you want to qualify for the Boston Marathon. So I set my goals to that and I worked towards that, right? And it gave me that big vision and that motivation to keep going, coupled by the purpose of writing these books so that someone who went through a life like mine will feel seen, will feel heard, will have guidance, will know that it is okay and they are okay. That doesn't make them less, but they get to continue on and make the most out of life still, right? So I have this desire to have so many people see that story. And I also have the desire to have a long-term plan. I was the girl that when I left high school had like my 20-year plan of what degrees I was going to get, how many years I would take before I got my promotion to become a principal. And then after I became a principal, I would become in the beginning of making that 20-year plan, that part evolved, but I really love that long-term plan. I've really been yearning for it. So that is why I asked Chat to make me a plan to sell 1 million books within the next 5 years. So I want to share with you what Chat told me. So I'm calling this my path to 1 million books. This year, and after getting this, when I first put this in the chat, I was a little bit worried. I was like, oh my God, is Chat going to make me this rigorous thing? Is it going to be so scary? And being scared, I think, is part of it. But I was just a little bit nervous of what was going to come out. And to be honest, I felt so relieved that 2025, what I need to be doing this year is building my foundation. And it felt really good because a lot of the things were things that I just had intuitively done. So I'm going to go over what the 5-year plan is to get to 2030, just overall large. And then I'm going to share exactly what he said to do and I asked him to break it down for every quarter and every month that I needed to focus on in 2025. So if you are also a beginner writer and you want to sell 1 million books, steal this, please. Get a pen, get a paper, write it all down. So 2025 is the foundation building. It's when I need to build out book 1 and complete my first draft. 2026 is where I complete book 1 to publishing draft, not just my first draft, but all of my edits and things like that. And then I create a publishing plan. 2027 is when I would actually publish this book. That blew my mind. I thought for sure that the publishing part would come much sooner than that to sell that 1 million books by 2030. So that almost felt like a relief where it's I have so much to learn in being a first-time writer. I have so much to establish. I'm sure the drafting and stuff until I get my process down is going to be slower in the beginning than it would be for all the future books that I'm going to write. And then 2027, so that's publish the book and marketing is what that was all about. In 2028, I get to write book 2. Hooray. Love that. It's on the horizon. Then in 2029, I launch book 2 and I market both. And I market it as the duology, sell book sets, things like that. But what's really interesting is that 2025 and 2026 are writing book 1. And then according to this plan, will have to write book 2 in half the time. Literally 1 year from starting the first draft to getting it publishing ready. I better learn well in this year and in next year. And then in 2030, in order to get up to 1 million books, the goal would just be to maximize sales. That would just be another year of marketing and talking about sales. So what does that look like for 2025 specifically? For 2025 specifically, Q1, we're already in April, so Q1 is already gone by, but I still wanted to know what that said. So Q1, the general goal is to solidify the concept. And so in January, it'd be writing down all of the big ideas. In February, it would be making an outline. And then in March, it'd be writing my first 10,000 words. And what's really cool and really crazy is I did all of those things. I got my first 10,000 words done by March. It blew my mind that Chat put out this thing and I'd already done and was already on par for the plan that chat has written for me. Quarter two, which is now, and we're already, today's April 30th. So it's the last day of the first month of quarter two. Is there a 31st? I don't think so. I think tomorrow is May 1st already. But the goal of Q2 is to write 30K to 50K words. So basically that means my book is going to fall around the 50 to 55K word count. That's kind of my guess and my goal. That's kind of like a Harry Potter 1 sized book, I believe. And so maybe that one's 60K, something like that. But that's about where young adult falls, is 55K. So my goal then is to do that. So in the month of April, it means that I've already written my 10K words. So in the month of April, my goal is to write 20,000 words in this month. I am at, I think the last count was like just over 19,000, which means I need to write 10,000 words today. Probably not gonna happen. Highly, highly doubt it. Even if I eked out 5,000 words, I would be so surprised and so impressed. And I only just made this plan like a few days ago, so I'm not so worried about that. But by the end of May, I need to have 50,000 words written. And so that feels like, okay, basically I need 10, so I have 20 right now, 20, 30, 40, 50. I need to write 30,000 words between now and the end of May, so I can kind of adjust that goal. And then by June, I have my first full draft, which is kind of fun to celebrate because June is also my birthday. So if my birthday is mid-June, so maybe in June, I can celebrate that. I also was given like a week-to-week breakdown of each of these things, which we can go over next. In Q3, the goal of Q3, which will be coming up next, is to finish draft 1 in the way that I start editing. So July, I will self-edit. August, I will give it to beta readers and get feedback. If you are interested in being a beta reader, I'm just curious, drop it here. I have been thinking a lot about like, who will my beta readers be? How do I choose a beta reader? I really want somebody who feels informed, who understands the book genre that I am writing to, and will also be somebody that I feel like I can trust and that I just feel comfortable sharing this vulnerable bit with. Like, so for instance, I would give my husband this to read because I feel very safe with him vulnerably, but he doesn't read books. So like, is his feedback, he's literally just gonna be like, it's all amazing, right? Then I have other people who read a lot of like self-development and things like that I know, but they don't read this genre. So will they be able to give me great feedback for young adult dystopian fantasy? Probably not. So if you're interested in being a beta reader, shout out, let me know, drop in the comments, and we'll see. Then September, after getting my feedback from my beta readers, I would revise. Then in Q4, it's audience growth strategy. And it's really all about, like, there's not much book stuff happening there. So this part kind of confused me because I'm like, shouldn't I be doing this all along, like, right now with you? You're my audience, and we're building that so that you can be excited about my book too, just like I am, so that you will want to read it when it comes out. But it says October is audience building, November is connecting with editors, and then December is planning 2026 milestones. And that sounds fun, but I don't think I need a whole month to do that. Okay, so let's break this down. So then I asked, in just Q2, what am I focusing on every single week? So basically April is past, but it was write 5,000 words a week. And then one of the things that it said I need to finalize my detailed outline, which I did when I did that brainstorming that broke my brain and made me rearrange. I need to confirm my writing schedule, which I think I've done a great job. I also have a video on that, on my process. 5K words a week I did not do, but that wasn't my goal then. So that's good to know now. And then it says audience content and focus on that, which I'm creating these. But one of the things that chat told me that I need is like a lead magnet so I can start getting people's emails and things like that. So that might be coming. We'll see. I have no idea. In May, that's what it really wants me to focus on. My writing goals, celebrate reaching the midpoint, launch a simple lead magnet, and then create an email list outreach. So I'm supposed to next week write 5K words and come up with, like, finalize my lead magnet. I'm supposed to, in week 2 of May, write 5K words and then make content to promote my lead magnet, then make a landing page, really by the end of May, launch a lead magnet. Now, as I've had like my own coaching business and stuff, I've made lead magnets, I've made landing pages, I've made content to promote. I could probably do that all in 4 days. So I feel like chat is giving me a lot of leeway here with my assignments and the time of them. But I also do have to remember that that's good for me because I'm also going to be writing 5K words each week. And well, technically more because I haven't hit 30K yet in April. I also have my other work, like running my coaching business. So there's that. So it's good that this isn't like overwhelming. Then in June, I write my final 15,000 words. I prepare for the self-edit. I reflect on my marketing content to see how it's been doing. So what videos do you like the best? Like, did you like this video? If you like this video, let me know, right? Things like that. And then I plan my summer calendar, which everybody loves a good planning day. Then again, write 5K words a week. Go through and look, are there any missing scenes? Make an outline for that, make any revisions that are needed, finish, schedule my editing. And then the last week of June is a break. But I'll probably take that break in the 3rd week of June because that's when my birthday is. And I'm not going to go over like Q3 and Q4. I didn't even have those broken down by week yet because I will just wait and do that on my planned summer calendar time. But this is what ChatGPT told me will get me to 1 million books. If you have sold books before, if you have finished your book before, what do you think about this plan? Comment that below. Like I'm really curious about your thoughts in this. How much do you believe in this plan? I feel like this feels really good to me. And I think regardless of if this plan is something that's going to actually get me to 1 million books or how like legitimate this plan is, what I know about this is it gives me milestones and markers to work towards. It gives me milestones and markers to celebrate. In one of the first videos I talked about, I didn't even know that like, I was like, I wrote 10,000 words. Is that a celebration? I have no fucking clue. I wrote 500 words today. Is that not enough? Is that a celebration? I have no fucking clue. But this gives me a lot of things that I can say, okay, I've done this. It can help me identify my progress, make it tangible so that I can see that I'm moving forward. And that is something that I think is really powerful on any journey and something that's really important on any journey. I know it's a way that I work really well. And whenever I work with any of my clients, this is something that I do. For every goal that they have, the progress markers look different, right? The progress markers look different for this. Like in January, my progress markers to show that I was making progress on my book are to come up with my big ideas. I think a lot of people would write that off and say, that's not progress. You're just lazing about thinking. And I'm like, no, that matters for this. So every project you work on has different markers. And this is by far and just like so different than any other project I have worked on before. But this is great. It's like my map to running the marathon where I know the mileage that I need to put in and I know all the things that I need to get there. And I'm so freaking excited about this. So what is next? My job today is to get as close to 30K words as I can, which means I'm going to be going through all of those finalized. And I guess when I look at April, I can check off some of these things like, oh, I want to use a colored pen. I can check off some of these things like finalize my detailed outline. Done. I can also check off that I have my writing schedule. I'm going to start 2 full writing days a week, and I decided that. So I can check that off. And then audience content, you are here. So I'm going to pretend like you can check this off for me. And so that's super great. So really that gives me 3 out of the 4 things in April, even before I knew, because I made this at the end of April. That makes me feel really successful about where I'm supposed to be. So my next job right now is to get to writing. And that's what we're doing for the remainder of the day until I have some errands run before we leave town tomorrow. And so I'm going to take you with me on seeing how many words I can get to today. Take a quick break. I like to take a break before I feel stale so I don't feel like I've run out of all of my energy, but I started today at 19,200 words, I think, and I am up to 2,200 and almost 200 words. So 19,000, 20,000, 21, 22. I've written about 3,000 words, which actually is a lot more than I thought. And thinking about the plan to sell 1,000,000 books, I'm supposed to get up to 30,000 words. And so 3,000 out of like basically 10,000 that I needed is actually really, really great. It's about 1:30, so I am going to take a break, clear my brain. I think I'm going to just I have quite a few text messages, look on Instagram for a little bit. Then I think I'm gonna eat, and I should probably move my body, go on a walk or something. It is a beautiful ass day in New York, so should probably go outside. All right, it's 8 o'clock. We had a midday break, which was actually beautiful. Like I said earlier, it is like the perfect New York spring. And I realized it's my very first New York spring, but it was still very perfect. We went to my favorite park. We stopped into the New York Public Library. We happened upon a very, very cute used bookstore, which I will be returning to. We came back. I made a reel and things like that, but then I worked on writing, and honestly, it's just too late for me. And I know that the goal according to this $1 million plan that Chat made me was to have 30,000 words by the end of April, but I also only just learned of this plan 3 days ago. So I am not worried that I'm not hitting that mark right now because I didn't know it existed. We are ending out April, according to the plan, with 22,702 words, which to me is fucking phenomenal. So I'm really excited about that. And I have no doubt that in May, when I actually have this plan to follow, that I'm going to be able to get to the end goal of the 50,000 words that goes along with this being able to sell 1,000,000 books by 2030 plan that ChatGPT made me. Thank you so much for being here. If you are here, and if you have made it to the end of the video, drop a... Babe, what emoji should we drop?
Pickle.
Drop a pickle emoji down in the comments, because the bookstore that we went to today was called Sweet Pickles, and they actually sold pickles. And so pickles are on our mind. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. And I'm really excited to come back, get May kicked off, and write a shit ton of words.